Are you tired of wearing masks? Do you feel like you don't know how to be yourself? This video is for you. My name is Alain, and today we're going to discuss what being yourself actually means and how to do it, and why wearing masks is not just bad but fundamentally unprofitable and a waste of energy. To understand this, we need a model of personality. Let's visualize it. At the center, we have the core. This is your nucleus, your true self. It contains your fundamental values and principles. This is the foundation of who you are. The second layer is roles. A role is a function you perform in society. For example, being a bus driver, a parent, or a friend. Roles are often neutral. They're necessary functions for interacting with the world. A role becomes a problem only when it directly conflicts with your core values. The outer layer is masks. A mask is not a role. A mask is an act of self-betrayal. It directly contradicts your core values. When you wear a mask, you do something that you know on a deep level is wrong. According to your own principles, you create dissonance. Why does this matter? Because this simulation, this reality strives for balance. When you wear a mask, you create an enormous amount of tension between your actions and your core. This dissonance requires constant energy to maintain, and the universe will eventually force a rebalancing, often through crisis. Now let's apply another metaphor, the puzzle, and let's visualize it. Think of the world or your social environment as a giant jigsaw puzzle. Every person, every community, every workplace is a different section of the puzzle. You're a single puzzle piece. Your shape is determined by your core values and authentic skills. When you're truly yourself, you naturally find the place in the puzzle where you fit perfectly. The connections feel effortless. But when you wear a mask, you're trying to force your puzzle piece into a slot where it doesn't belong. You have to shave off your edges, bend your shape, and pretend to be something you're not. This creates friction with everyone around you. If you constantly argue with friends or feel out of place at work, it's not because you're broken, it's because you're trying to fit into the wrong part of the puzzle. To find your place, you don't change the puzzle. You must first understand your own shape, your core, and then find where the shape truly fits. So how do we stop wearing masks and align with our core? We have to understand the mechanism of our mind. Let's think of ourselves in two ways: the architect of our simulation and the system administrator of our mind. Your mind operates like a computer. Thoughts are programs. As I've said before, these thoughts are often not yours. They're external noise, information streams, or ancient biological programming. Let's use our previous model, masks, malware. When you wear a mask, you're running a program that directly conflicts with your core operating system values. This malware drains resources, causes system instability, anxiety, and leads to inevitable crashes. Roles: neutral background processes. A role, like a necessary job, is a functional program. It might consume a lot of processing power, making you tired, which is actually not true. And I'm going to discuss that topic in my next videos. So stay with me if you're interested how to never feel tired again. Let's come back to our topic. But it doesn't necessarily roles. They don't necessarily corrupt your core data. You don't have to delete it immediately, but you must recognize it as a function, not as you. The mistake people make is to trying to build a new life while running all the old, conflicting software. You try to install a new habit, but your processor is already overloaded by the masks and roles you maintain. The system crashes. That's why your new habits, they don't stay long. And that's another topic that I'm going to talk about in next videos. Very interesting, by the way. Here is what happens when you use a mask for a short-term gain. You want to impress someone, so you put on a mask. You get an immediate positive result. The graph goes up. But this result is false. You have entered a reality branch based on a lie. Because reality seeks balance, this cannot last. The system will force a correction. The graph crashes, falling lower than where you started, forcing you to bottom out before you can find your true path. So how do we stop this cycle? We use the single most powerful tool available to the system administrator, the pause. When you leave automatically, you react instantly based on old programming. Thought leads directly to action. To change this, you must insert a pause before you act or speak. This pause is where consciousness lives. In this space, you can observe the thought program without identifying with it. You can ask, does this action align with my core values? Where will this action lead me in the next frame of my life? Being yourself is not doing whatever I want. Doing whatever I want is simply obeying every random thought program that enters your mind. Being yourself means filtering every action through your core values during that conscious pause. What happens when you consistently use the pause technique and align with your core? You initiate an orbital jump to your new self, to your new version, a better version of yourself, more interesting one, and closer to your core. We live in stable orbits of behavior and thought. Your current personality, old self, exists in this comfortable, predictable orbit. When you begin to reprogram yourself, you build up energy to jump to a new orbit, new self. This new reality is closer to your true core. This jump involves the death of your previous self. The person you were cannot exist on the new trajectory. This is why change is frightening. It is a form of death. When you change your puzzle piece shape, you will eventually face resistance. People liked your old mask. your old self. They were comfortable with your old shape. When you change, you no longer fit with them. You will face a choice: lose yourself or lose the people attached to your old self. The choice seems hard, but logically it is obvious. Losing part of your environment is a necessary consequence of growth. Can your core values change? Yes. The entire universe is in constant motion. Evolution is normal. As you shed layers of masks and false programming, your understanding of your core becomes clearer and more refined. The goal is not to reach a final destination where you get something. This reality is fundamentally empty, space between atoms. There's nothing to get. The goal is the journey itself, the process of moving along the path, developing and exploring. Your final tool is your perception. You color every frame of reality with your thoughts. If you see the world through a negative filter, you're dimming the lights in your own theater. You are the only one watching the movie from your perspective. Choose to see the process as valuable, find interest in your roles, and consciously move toward your center. Stay awake, stay aware, and see you in the next fray. Bye bye.